Will Brock Vandagriff ever be the starting quarterback for Georgia? I'm going to give you my prediction in this video, and I want to know what you guys think down below, what the trajectory of his career is. But right now, I don't think it's looking as hot as he was hoping. And Georgia's a loaded quarterback room. They have been for the last couple of years, and I think that's only going to continue. We'll talk a little bit about Arch Manning in this video, but will Brock ever be the starter? Will he ever be QB1 in Athens? Ryan Curley from Dog Post here trying to answer that question. Make sure you're checking out DAWGSTRUCTION, our insider book, for all sorts of cool pictures from this past season, like James Cook catching an awesome touchdown against Tennessee. DAWGSTRUCTION down below. I don't think Brock Vandagriff's ever going to be the starting quarterback at Georgia. I don't know if that's a bold prediction, but it's my prediction right now. And, I think it's justified. Let's look at it. This year, he's third on the depth chart. Stetson Bennett's the starter. Carson Beck's the backup. Well, Carson Beck stayed, right? Which means he either thinks he's going to start this year at some point, or he thinks, okay, well, I'm just going to wait it out. I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to do what I can do this year, and I'm going to be the starter in 2023 because I think he is the most likely starter. If you put money on it, who's the starting quarterback for Georgia in 2023, I'm putting all mine on Carson Beck. All right? So I don't know if there's a bet out there that you guys can go do. There you go. There's my advice. But Brock hasn't developed the way that we maybe thought that he should or he would. That is kind of my tidbit of info that I've gathered here. In practice, I know that on the practice squad, he was practice squad quarterback a lot, and he was inaccurate a lot, and he didn't hit all of his receivers, and he didn't show a lot of touch. And the most attractive thing with Carson Beck is the legs. I think we hope to see that with Stetson Bennett. He's got the legs. He's a better runner than Carson Beck, obviously, but you can't rely on a quarterback to just run all the time unless you're as gifted and fast as someone like Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray is. Those are NFL quarterbacks. We're talking about Brock Vandagriff right now, who's not even close to being that. He hasn't been as accurate. I've been told that he hasn't developed as fast as people thought he would. And I think you kind of see that. And you saw that a little bit at G-Day. Not super accurate. Don't have the numbers right in front of me, but his completion percentage was not great. You could tell that he wasn't there yet. And, was he really just not a 5-star quarterback? Is he just not taking a college well? I don't know the answer to that. But I do know that he's got Gunnar Stockton on his heels. He's got the threat of Arch Manning coming to Athens. So I kind of think that he would be the most likely quarterback to transfer if someone was going to transfer in the next year or so. I think it would end up being Brock Vandagriff, but you know that he's not going to start this year, right? There's a lot of things that have to go wrong. That's the thing about it I talked about with Carson Beck the other day. And, I mention it here with Brock Vandagriff. A lot of things have to go wrong, I think, for Brock Vandagriff to be the starting quarterback for Georgia this year. Because that means Stetson Bennett and Carson Beck just couldn't get it done for you. But I just don't know if he'll ever be the starter because let's look at his eligibility, right? That should be, 5 years of eligibility? Is that the deal with COVID and everything? So he should be his deal should be 5 years. It might just be 4 years, 4 or 5 years for him for his eligibility. If it's 6, it's 6. But 2 are already gone. This will be 3. So then he's looking at, maybe 2 years of eligibility after this season. But the problem with that is, I'm wrong on this because this past season was a sophomore season. So he does have more eligibility. But the clock's ticking because in his first 3 seasons, he's not going to be the starter, in my opinion, because I think Carson Beck's going to start next year. So the real question is, who do you think would win in a quarterback battle? And this is an if, This is an if Arch Manning is in Athens. If he's in Athens, obviously it's an if. You got Gunnar Stockton, you got Arch Manning, you got Brock Vandagriff. After, let's say, I'm playing hypotheticals. Let's say Carson Beck is out after 23. So we're talking about in 2024. This is getting super hypothetical, guys, but I think that is only adding to my point here with he's not going to start at Georgia, at least not for a long time. Because we're talking about 2024 now. All right, the 2022 season hasn't happened. So hypothetical here. You got Gunnar, who at that point would have 2 seasons under his belt as a backup. You would have Brock with 3 seasons under his belt as a backup. And then you'd have Arch Manning, who would be coming in. And he would have 1 season as a backup. But I don't think all 3 of those guys would stay. I don't think all 3 of those guys would stay at that point. And I think that Brock Vandagriff is the most likely to transfer just because of the trajectory of his career. Oh, well, I only have so much time left, and I've got these guys behind me that I haven't separated myself from. Because I don't think the separation is really that great between Brock and Gunnar. I was told that when Gunnar got to Athens in December, when he enrolled early, and they were letting the early enrollees practice with the team in December in the midst of a playoff run, that Gunnar Stockton meant business and he was making plays and that he was looking better than Brock Vandagriff. So if that's the case, then there's not a great separation between Gunnar Stockton and Brock Vandagriff, 3 and 4 on the current depth chart. I really just don't think he's going to start at Georgia. And, there was a lot of hype around him. He was a hometown guy. He went to Prince Avenue right down the road. He's 6'3", cannon of an arm, is a great athlete. I mean, he's everything you want in a quarterback, but he hasn't developed. And I don't think he's going to ever be the starting quarterback for Georgia. That is my take today. You may or may not like that, and I want to know what you think down below. Make sure you're checking out DAWGSTRUCTION, and make sure you're going to dawgpost.com for all of your insider info.